Kristen Brasnowski, executive editor of TV Reel, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Jeff Corwin and Josh Fox about the series Extraordinary World. It's great to speak with you both.
Great to see you.
Tell me about how the seed of the idea for Extraordinary World started.
Well, it was a pretty interesting germination of the opportunity. I was giving a speech in Florida at a gala event for a project that I'd worked with, and some of Josh's team was there from Brady Hunter. They approached me about noodling a bigger story, a bigger idea. We began to brainstorm. At the same time, an opportunity was opening up at CBS for a chance to make a groundbreaking television series. And things just began to evolve very, very quickly. And before you knew it, we were deep seated into this amazing journey of telling really compelling and what I'd like to think are inspiring stories of everyday people doing extraordinary things to make our world a better place.
And how did this partnership come together?
At the Brady Hunter Foundation, one of our extreme taglines is being the voice of the voiceless. And, we look at two groups as being very vulnerable, children and animals. And, a lot of Jeff's career has been being the voice of animals and being the voice of the environment and conservation. And we just thought it was a great marriage with his voice and his platform and our voice and our platform to put together this marriage to be able to tell these stories on national TV and inspire others to do good.
And tell me a little bit more about how the series accomplishes this. What are viewers going to get to see?
Well, essentially, every episode is an adventure. And we find this organic amalgamation of the spirit of the Brady Hunter Foundation, where they focus in on the human interest component, that uplift human story. For example, working with Quan, this very famous veterinarian, and going in Skid Row in California and providing veterinary care to unhoused people, or working with an incredible conservation project to clean up the beaches of South Florida, or tell the story of how Brady Hunter is stepping up to provide aircraft for anti-poaching missions in Africa, or working with endangered species and domesticated animals, providing adoption at the Southampton Animal Shelter. We find those little gems that we polish up into these really compelling journeys that we do every week, knowing that the thread that we're constantly binding through that needle is the mission of the Brady Hunter Foundation. And that's kind of what we do. Little precious stories that need to have a illumination, or those big gravitas stories like a sea turtle rescue story through multiple organizations. That's, I would say, what the spirit of every episode in the series is.
So now there are a lot of subjects that are worthy of being told and getting this platform. I know you guys touch on topics of animal advocacy and wildlife conservation and youth empowerment and aiding those dealing with food insecurity. What is some of the planning that goes into which of the missions of the Brady Hunter Foundation that are going to get a spotlight in the series?
I mean, the Brady Hunter Foundation for the last handful of years has been working on these stories and has been working on these projects. And together with Hearst Production, CBS, Jeff Corwin and his team, we looked at these stories and said, which ones would inspire others to do something similar. When I first moved to Florida, I was just horrified by walking down the beach with Hunter, who's half of the Brady Hunter Foundation, my dog, and there was just plastic everywhere on the beaches of Florida. And it started with just me walking myself and my dog with a plastic bag at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then we had 10 people, and then we had 100 people, and then we had 200 people. And now in our beach cleanups, we have hundreds of people cleaning up thousands of pieces of trash. And that's what it's all about, educating the public, not only by making them aware, but hopefully touching their heart to the point where they actually want to come and proverbially roll up their sleeves, put on their gloves, and help us pick up the trash.
And now, Jeff, you have done work a lot in the wildlife space. How does this show branch out from that? But how does it also kind of still keep that through line with what you've had experience in?
Well, I'm someone, I love adventure and I love a great journey and I love to tell stories. That's kind of how I'm hardwired. And I love that challenge of taking a story, a complicated story, where the veneer of it may feel somewhat challenging, but then finding those incredible, compelling characters that lift up that story. So, for example, one of the partners that the Brady Hunter Foundation works with is this incredible group in New York City called Pause New York that provide resources for financially strapped families. At first look, you might think that doesn't seem like a Jeff Corwin story, but when we did our deep dive into it, and incredibly, what normally would have been a gloomy winter day, it was 70 degrees in New York, and it was sunny in the middle of a very challenged neighborhood. But the people came out from around that neighborhood, a long line down the street, and to hear the stories of the love that people have for their pets and that they're getting these resources, leashes and food and kitty litter to make sure that they can stay together as a family. It actually was a perfect fit for me. And then we find that balance. We do that dance where every episode has that human interest story. It has that animal advocacy story, and then it has that nature conservation story. So, the great news is Brady Hunter is in many countries around the world. They have numerous projects from east to west coast in Florida. So it's not a hard fit to cultivate these incredible journeys.
And Josh, tell me about what you see as the power of television helping amplify the Brady Hunter Foundation's messages in a way that's both educational but also entertaining and can really make a difference.
I can't tell you how many messages and texts that I've received from old friends and family that are not just watching this show themselves, they're watching it with their children. And some of these families have 4, 5, 6 kids, and the kids love it as much as the adults love it. And they really are appreciative for the stories that we're telling and the inspiring that we're doing, because the show is a family show where people really have sat down with their entire family and are looking forward to it week after week.
So, what is it that you both hope that viewers will take away after having watched this show?
Well, and I'm sure Josh would say exactly what I'm saying, is that we want our audience to feel empowered. We want to feel them to feel them inspired. I think the greatest obstacle to making positive change is feeling that you do not have power. When you realize that no matter what level you are in our world, you have incredible power as a consumer, politically, socially, through your advocacy, you can make a difference. Everybody we feature is an ordinary person. They're a regular person that is doing something extraordinary to make our world a better place. So we also live in a world that is incredibly unpredictable right now. It feels mired in a darkness, and there's a lot of despair and unknown and challenge. And this place, this moment, this 22 minutes in CBS, where we bring 1 million or so folks together to watch this show, they can escape that. And they can look at a subject that may at first glance seem challenging, but find joy in that story. And through the joy and through that hope, they themselves will be inspired to join us and make a difference. That's what I want people to achieve.
Well, it's fantastic and it's heartwarming and it is inspiring. And that is something that the whole family can really come together and watch. So, thanks for taking us behind the scenes and thanks for bringing us this to the screen. It really is important work. So, thanks to you both.
Thank you.